Greetings and welcome to .com Sports. Hello everybody and welcome back to .com Sports. Joining me today on this panel of unparalleled, unscripted, and unapologetic sports talk is
Roy Burton, the Broad Street Line, and LibertyBallers.com.
Emory Hunt, FootballGamePlan.com.
Brett Luthner, MTRRadio.com.
And as always, I'm your host, Kwame Fisher-Jones.
I will jump that fence and fight every nigger here, bro. I will jump that fence and fight every nigger here, bro.
Today we are going to jump right into the middle of the nonsense that is Riley Cooper. So I'm going to ask you guys to I'm going to give you two questions and you go from there. Your thoughts when you saw the video, and is there any way Cooper can walk into an NFL locker room? Not an Eagles, but any NFL locker room this season. Start with you, Roy.
My first thought was the fact that it took nearly 2 months for this video to become viral. Like in today's kind of news cycle where everybody's looking to make their name on Twitter or Facebook or social media, this Kenny Chesney concert happened in early June.
June 9th.
June 9th, and now it's late July when this video comes out. That we finally learned that it was because the person who shot the video was shopping it around. That's why it took so long.
Smart.
So
make a buck.
Absolutely right. Didn't make too many bucks, but that was probably my first initial reaction, that something this big and this huge took so long to come out. I know we'll talk about the other part of it, but that was my initial reaction to this, is the fact that it took this long for a story this big to actually come out and be known.
Go ahead, chime in, Emory.
Well, growing up in the South, I wasn't surprised at all. This is how people are, no matter where you go. And if you catch people in their natural element, they tend to say things that they really feel. So I wasn't surprised at all. Initially, I don't think he can go into any NFL locker room. Unless he goes back to 1938 into one of those locker rooms, he can't go into any NFL locker room. The reason why, that trust has been broken.
Yeah.
It's not. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with injuries. Is about trust.
Brotherhood.
I can't trust you now because, let's say if I'm Michael Vick and I miss you open going out on the route, are you going to get angry or are you going to call me what so I can't.
Funny you say that.
I can't trust him.
Well, I'm going to let you go in a second, Brett, but it's funny you say that because that's the angle no one has talked about. You hear, well, he can't because the black teammates are going to react this way, white teammates are going to shun him. I don't think any of that. I think, what do you suppose, let's say you run a wide receiver screen and the tackle misses a block.
Right.
You don't think Riley Cooper's going to think, that's because I said that, right? You couldn't make that block. Like, I'm not getting the ball because I said that. Are we really going to out? Like, he's shown that mental capacity at this point. So go ahead, Brett.
When I heard it, first of all, and I saw the video, I'm thinking, oh, what are you doing, you knucklehead? I don't know if he can even step back into a locker room again because of that brotherhood. And if he even has that mindset of, I can't trust my teammate, you missed a block because I said that, then he really doesn't belong on an NFL roster. You can't have that mental weakness and expect to play in the National Football League week in and week out.
Mental weakness is the big, when I saw the video, and this is, I'm thinking, we're not going to win a game. Like, it just keeps getting worse. Injuries. New systems, people talking about referees not gonna let the tempo, like it's everything is negative. And then the dude that decides to cut the sleeves off of his shirt wants to yell something in a city that is like 85% black. Like it's like you don't win with people that think this way. I don't care what, to be honest, and I know you guys will agree with me here. We don't care whether Riley Cooper is a racist or a good person or not. The only reason why we care about Riley Cooper is because he plays on a football team. So we look at it from a football standpoint, and I'm looking at it like, are you kidding me? What are you thinking? This is what bad teams do. From top to bottom, this is what bad teams do. The second part of the question, was more, can he go in a locker room this season? The bigger issue I have there is no one knows how to handle this. You're going to send them to sensitivity training. And Brett, this question is you. How long is sensitivity training? How long does it take for you to become Ralph Tresvant, to become Mr. Sensitive?
I don't even know if a set time of sensitivity training will get the job done. It's almost like someone going to substance abuse programs. However long. Exactly. You can be in there 8, 16 weeks, 24 weeks, it doesn't matter. If you come out, you might still want to do it. sensitivity training, you may go forever and still not get the training.
What are they going to test him when he comes? Like, how do you like? Are they going to send him into? Are they going to send him to the hood and see how he reacts? Like, how are they going to know he's cool?
Well, the thing that no one's talking about is the fact that he plays the wrong position for this controversy to happen. He is dependent on people getting him the football. If he played quarterback, he had a better chance. Why? Because he can distribute, so he can block his own biases. But he's a receiver. He needs people to get him the football. If he was a running back, he'd be in the same situation. He needs his offensive lineman. He's in a bad spot.
I'll give you a second, Roy. Okay. It's just bad all over. Like, I want to ask, but it's just bad all over. Macklin goes down an hour in the camp. Right. We got a coach that doesn't want to tackle. You know, we have a running back who is like hit and miss with the media. He doesn't want to talk to me. We have a city that is angry at probably our most explosive player. We have half a defense that is equipped to run a 4-3, another half to run a 3-4. The one thing you wanted to hang your hat on was this team would mentally be tougher than what they were a year ago.
But you left out the quarterback controversy as well. We still don't have a quarterback, because the depth chart came out today, and the co-number ones are at the top of the depth chart. Yeah, co-number ones, Michael Vick and Nick Foles, both at number one on the depth chart. So that's just one more thing to kind of add on to the pile of the 2013 Eagles. But the thing, just to get back to your other point, Riley Cooper is going through sensitivity training, which will take X amount of days, X amount of weeks. There's 89 other guys on that roster right now who probably need to go through some similar training. And they've had multiple team meetings, and Mike Vick and John Dornbos and those guys have come out and they've made their statements. Not everybody's – this team locker room is divided, and it's going to be divided when Riley Cooper comes back, and it's going to be divided, until Riley Cooper's not an Eagle anymore. And even if he's not an Eagle anymore, it still might be divided after that, because the guys who are his friends might be upset that Riley Cooper's not an Eagle anymore. So, again, this is just another layer on top of the layers we've already dealt with this team that pretty much just foretells doom.
I mean, we were talking. We were in the production meeting. We were talking, and you said we were in trouble anyway because we were talking about Riley Cooper like he was Jerry Rice. Terrell Owens divided the locker room, and the team sucked.
Right.
You have your fourth wide receiver at best. I mean, let's be realistic.
Well, look at it this way: you get Aurelius Ben back to practice. He's already better than.
I like that signing too.
And and you have two tight ends. You draft Zach Ertz. You still have Selleck. There's other options. Cooper, and if you look at the Oregon offense, the receivers really just ran against certain coverages, and they really have big time numbers. The running game is key. Tight end play is huge. This is not a big deal for the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't think.
Brett, can the Eagles survive this season?
I think they can. I mean,
really,
I think they can. Only because I've never been really sold on Dallas.
Give me your definition of survival. Go ahead and break it down. Then give me a number, wins, an amount of wins.
Surviving to me is, for the Eagles compared to what they could be, is at or around 500. And yeah, I'm actually, only because the Redskins, I'm not sold on their defense. The Giants, I'm not sold on their pass rush at all, even though they got Eli Manning. They had no pass rush, and they give up boatloads of yards.
Okay.
And the Dallas Cowboys, I'm never sold on the Dallas Cowboys ever since Tony Romo became the quarterback of that team.
But he's going to be Peyton Manning this season. He's going to study like Peyton Manning.
I hope he studies like Peyton Manning, because otherwise that team's in trouble some more. They don't have much of an offensive line to protect him either. Okay. I just think because of that war of attrition type of deal, the Eagles can somehow get themselves playoffs. I don't think is going to happen for them. I think they can be close to 500.
But playoffs.
Playoffs? Talking about playoffs?
Did you really just say playoffs? Did you not see what we got going on right now?
They're not going to make the playoffs. But do I think they can get 7-8 wins? Yes, I actually do.
Wow. Roy,
I'm optimistic.
Is there any? Hold on. Are you an Eagles fan?
No.
Okay.
I don't see any way this team gets 7 or 8 wins with this current roster. You have Russell Shepard and Demaryius Johnson running with the ones right now. You may or may not have Riley Cooper come back, who's already divided the locker room. I don't see where these wins are going to come from. You have guys playing out of position on defense. We have no idea whether or not Brandon Graham and Trent Cole can play in a 3-4 set. We have no idea if Michael Kendricks and D'Amico Ryans can play well in the inside in the 3-4 set. There's so many questions about this team that to think that they can make a run for 7 or 8 wins seems a bit much to me right now.
I'm gonna give you a second, Emery. And we still have the same safeties. Kenny Phillips hasn't played back-to-back games since he was in Pop Warner. And who's the other safety we picked up?
Bryce Young.
Exactly. Go ahead, Emery. Can they survive the season?
I think they can survive the season. Two things the Eagles have. They have speed and they have athleticism. And that right there is going to keep you in a lot of games. And you look at their offense, again, LaShawn McCoy, one of the best running backs in the game right now. And you look
Who
at
is T.I. red every time he sees green right now.
Well, and here's the thing. You also look at the tight end play. I talked about that earlier going back to Oregon. Oregon's receivers mostly ran against cover two, off man. Why? Because they had to protect against the running game. So when you look at DeAnthony Thomas and Kenyon Barner, now you transition that to the Eagles, you're going to look at LaShawn McCoy. You're going to see Deshaun Jackson get handoffs. You're going to see the depth in the backfield with Bryce Brown. They're going to run the football. The Eagles are going to run the football, and on defense, the 3-4 defense is all about attitude. You got to have heart and want to. They have speed and athleticism in the front seven. They're going to be in a lot of ball games. I think they can get 7 to 8 wins. What's going to keep them out of the playoffs? They don't have the depth, and that right there is going to. That's what wins you ball games later on in November, December.
That was beautifully said, but you just skipped over the big elephant in the room. Who's our cornerbacks? We have no secondary.
Well, here's the thing: in the 3-4, pressure bust pipes. If they get pressure up front, they can have they have talent back there to make plays. You don't need
talent where in the secondary.
You don't need Eric Allen. You don't need Wes Hopkins. You just need guys that can get around the football if your front seven is legit.
Okay, I'm going to challenge you on this one because I see a secondary that has gone from pretty bad to horrific to putrid to not even NFL standards. They go out and they sign Kenny Phillips, who was a good player. I took a shot at him, but Kenny Phillips is a decent player. Chung is a great special teams guy. I don't want to depend on him in the secondary, especially considering the fact he struggled in New England. I don't see a secondary that can stop people. And the front seven, if if the offense runs 80 plays, then that means the other team's offense is probably going to get about 60 to 70 plays. Would you agree there? Mm-hmm. I don't think our secondary is good enough to stop a team. Let's say 70 plays per quarter divided by 4. I don't think our secondary is good enough to stop 4 big plays a quarter. Therefore, I see them giving up a lot of points. How can you just overlook that and say they can still be in ball games?
Because you have to look at that front seven. Think about when the Saints won the Super Bowl. Jabari Greer, Tracy Porter on and off each week. They didn't have world beaters at corners.
Darren Sharper had 73 interceptions that season.
You know why? Because they blitzed all the time.
And he's a good player.
He's a guy that can make plays on the ball. So you don't have to catch interceptions. You can just knock the ball down. So either way,
be in position though.
Either way you go, the pressure will put you in position.
All right, I'm pushed against the break. I wish I had more time because I'd go after you on this one. Because Darren Sharper is borderline Hall of Famer. But we would all agree he's a ball hawk.
He's a ball hawk. That's just extrapolating his talents along.
Okay.
Talking about you can use Kenny Phillips in that capacity.
He can't play back-to-back games. He's got the knees of Red Fox. And seriously, like I'm being silly, to kind of lighten the mood. But Kenny Phillips is a guy who has yet to put together a full season. So we can't depend on him. That's in all seriousness, that's the problem with the secondary. They're not dependable. They're not reliable. Before they weren't well coached. They didn't have playmakers. Now they have athleticism back there, but they're not dependable. They're not reliable. And you're asking them to go into a division that has 2 4,500-yard passing quarterbacks. That's tough. They're going to be playing a quarterback that throws for 5,000 yards every year since it was 4. You know what I mean? I don't know how they're going to put together a strong season. Then you have a mentally weak team losing early. They start out tough. They got Denver early. I don't see it happening. Then they got Kansas City coming in there. I mean, Andy Reid drafted these guys. He knows them. Like he knows everything about them. This is a tough season. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, I'm gonna give Emery a shot and Brett a shot to respond. Emery's chomping at the bit here. Hey, I don't see 7 8 wins, guys. I don't think if you put, what were they 4-12 last year?
Lost 11 of their last 12.
Yeah, and what were they? They were 4-8, and then Vic puts. It's a bad team with bad. When we come back from the break, I'm gonna give these guys a chance to rebuttal that. .com Sports. Welcome back to .com Sports. Before we went to the break, I challenged Emery and Brett on their prediction of 8 wins. I'm going to give these gentlemen a chance to rebuttal, probably uninterrupted. I'll start with you, Brett. 8 wins. I've gone into a litany of a plethora of reasons why I don't believe it can happen. Just give me 2 guys that you believe you can count on the defensive side and the offensive side of the ball that can help you get to 8 wins.
I don't know in terms of a specific guy on the defensive side of the ball, one that you can count on, because this unit is going to have to go through 70 plays a game. It's going to have to be all 11 on the field defensively that has to do it. Are they going to do it week in and week out? No. There's going to be some teams when they have to go at Denver in week 4.
It's going to be ugly.
It's going to be wild because both teams are going to want to go up and down. You know Peyton Manning's going to go no huddle on them. And that's, by the way, coming off of the Eagles play 3 of their first 3 games
in 10 days.
In 10 days.
Yeah.
So that's a tough stretch, and they get 10 days off before they go to Denver, and then it's 3 straight road games for them. So it's a nice challenging start for them, but to say the least. But the thing about it is offensively, it's in the backfield. McCoy, if he's going to get touches, whether it be catching the ball out of him, he will produce. And I think that's the part that if he can produce, if they get him enough touches and he produces, keep those opposing defenses honest where you can get the ball in the end zone a lot. They're going to have to outscore a lot of teams. I think they're going to do it more, not to the tune of 9 wins. They're definitely not getting 9, but like I said, 7 or 8 wins they can get to.
Okay, I'm gonna put out your fire here. LaDainian Tomlinson had a season where he had 100 receptions and over 1,000 yards rushing. Would have been MVP of the team if the Chargers won 2 games. They won one game that season, 1 or 2 games that year. Exactly, but they didn't win more than 3. So even at that workhorse, I just don't see it happening. Go ahead, Emery.
You comparing apples to bell peppers. That's 2 different situations. You gotta look at the Eagles with the tight ends. Anytime you got one good tight end in this league, you're gonna win a lot of games. The Eagles have 2. They have Selleck. They have a rookie, Zach Ertz. So now what that does?
Okay, so you like Zach Ertz.
I like it. I like him. It expands.
You said you were high.
It expands your offense. That's gonna widen out that defense. And 2, defenses don't have 2 safeties that can cover. There's usually one guy that's really good and one guy that's a run support guy. So the Eagles a lot of times are going to try to win with formation. And when you can run the ball like they can, their offensive line does get healthier and they're a lot better than what people think they are. And you have the fact that you have Michael Vick back there in the pocket. People still fear his running attack, his ability to run. So that right there holds that backside defensive end at bay, creating another lane for LaShawn McCoy. Vic doesn't even have to take off. Just the threat of him about to take off opens up holes for LaShawn McCoy. So I think that right there. And on defense, you have to like the linebackers. The reason why the 3-4 is effective, it screws up your blocking assignments. You don't know where that 4th or 5th guy is coming from. 4-3 front, you know at any given down, you're going to have 4 guys. 3-4, you know where those guys are coming from. So the linebackers are going to be key.
I'm going to allow you to go ahead, Roy. I'm not going to comment on Michael Vick.
I want to let you cook on that one. I want to let you go ahead.
He can't.
I love, you know why? Because here's the thing. I've become this dude that seems like I'm just crushing Michael Vick, and that's not true. I'm actually have been one of Michael Vick's biggest fans. You know, I wanted to break him out of prison for crying out loud. And it's documented. You can go to articles I've written where I said I should have said the 49ers should have went after him. I've been a big Michael Vick dude. At the end of the day, though, I see a guy, not even at the end of the day, at this point in his career, I see a guy that doesn't have it anymore. And when he did have it, he was barely winning games. Now he doesn't have it. I'm inviting him to run if I'm a defensive coordinator because I know at some point he's going to give me the ball. So I'm not going to spend a whole second bashing on Vic because at this point, I don't want that negative energy to come on there. Go ahead, Roy.
And the thing with Michael Vick, and I'll agree, you have to unlearn 10 or 11 years of bad habits that you have with Michael Vick as far as decision-making and holding on to the ball and things like that. In minicamp, supposedly Chip Kelly taught Michael Vick, how
not
to,
a running back.
how to hold the football. How to hold the football.
Not Tiki Bar.
No, I'm not. Well, but what I'm saying is maybe Michael will pick up enough of these things from Chip Kelly, or maybe he will learn a little bit more because last year he held the ball more than 3 seconds per play. If he can cut that down a little bit, the thing with Michael Vick is he had the most problem last year when he held onto the ball too long. If Michael Vick can consciously or subconsciously, hold on to the ball less, make quicker decisions, make quicker reads, a little bit quicker than he has in the past, then maybe the Eagles can put something together this year.
The tragedy, I'll give you a second, and I'm going to give it back to you. The tragedy in that statement, though, is even if mentally he has it, physically, I don't think he has it anymore. Go ahead.
Well, people always assume that Oregon's offense ran their quarterbacks a lot.
Right.
Dennis Dixon didn't run.
No, he
Mariota
didn't.
just ran last year because he is blazing fast. The reason why they able to get the football out their hands quickly is because they hand it off to the backs, they run that that jet sweep, and that right there creates the illusion. So now when you have a guy like Vic back there, a defense will always have to respect his ability, whether it's draining or whether he still is elite. He still can run. He's still faster than a lot of these quarterbacks that are in the game, so you still have to respect that.
So what's the difference between him and, let's say, I'm not going to say Nick Foles because there's a glaring difference there. What's the difference between Michael Vick at this stage of his career and, any other quarterback that has the similar skills, a similar athletic skill set? I don't think Vick has elite speed anymore. So what I'm trying to get an idea of, because you seem to be high on him, and Brett, you seem to think that they can put together some. What's the difference between him at this point of his career that, I don't want to say Dennis Dixon because everyone knows I believe Dennis Dixon's going to start. Any athletic quarterback at this point, what does Vic give you that the other athletic quarterbacks don't give? Not an RG3, but just a regular athletic quarterback.
He's agile, and he dropped from a 4.2 to a 4.4. That's still pretty fast.
Okay.
So, and I like the fact that he's added weight. Think about when Vic came out. He was a stocky guy.
Yeah, added about 11 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, it shrunk him. That's when he started to get nicked up. So now he's bulked up a little bit more. So I think he still has enough speed just to get around the edge. That's all you have to have. And he's agile. He can still make you miss. That's the difference between him and RG3, who is not agile. He's just straight line fast. He's going to beat you to the corner, but he's not going to make you miss.
You should be Vic's attorney. Go ahead, Brett.
Well, also too with the two tight ends that they have, and they're a little nicked up at receiver, obviously. But if you can spread out a defense and force a defense to drop off to cover, now Michael Vick has more lanes for him to go take off if there isn't anything down for it, or if the front pressure gets to him. Okay. So now, if you get that 4.4 speed running without many up front, if he gets through that first layer and everybody's in coverage because the Eagles' offense has spread him out, now all of a sudden you got a guy running 4.4. Hey, listen, 6-7 yards at a time and get down. If Chip Kelly can get it into his head, that's the biggest thing. Get down.
Which he won't do.
Don't
he refuses to do it. He's
Don't
not
pull
going
a
to
Mark.
off of that muffler. He is not going to get down. He refuses to do it.
Don't pull a Mark Sanchez either. That'll be problems there. But if you can just get down, after or get out after 6-7 yards, just take it where you can get it. Yeah, they're not going to win the division. We all know that. Heck, 7-9 might end up being last place in that division for all we know.
But 7 or 8 wins means that in the division they have to play 6. So that would mean that if they would have to, at the very least, if they go 0-6 in their division, that means that they would have to go 7-3 outside of their division. So, let's talk about the division then. Let's start off then. Let's talk about Washington. I'm not a big RG3 fan. Not because he's a cornball, but I'm just not a big RG3 guy. I'm not. I wonder about his mindset going into this season with the success that they had last season without any bona fide game breakers. So I'm gonna start with you, Emery, on that one. What do you see out of RG3 this year? Because I believe he's going to take a step back.
I actually think the Redskins win the division. When you look at what they were able to do last year without Carricker, without Arakpo, with no secondary, and now they've upgraded each and every aspect of that defense, they're going to be a lot better defensively. And on the offensive side of the football, you look at RG3, people just think he'd get out there and he's running around like he's Tommy Frazier. All he's doing, he's just creating mismatches, 21 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Deadly accurate with the football. They added Jordan Reed out of Florida. That's another tight end. Now they have 2. Fred Davis, Jordan Reed. They're going to, again, use those 2 tight end sets to play action off the running game. The receivers are only going to see cover 1 and cover 3.
Fred Davis coming off a bad wheel?
That's why you bring in Jordan Reed. That's why you also still have Niles Paul. They have a lot of ups, and they have a very good offensive line.
So you think they do have a lot of?
Oh, yeah.
They have a well-coached offensive line.
And
I'll come to you in a second. They have, and I think their offensive line didn't get as much credit as they deserved last season.
And you look at their defense. Last year, the secondary was a problem. Now you bring in David Amerson, Bakari Rambo, and you also add in Phillip Thomas. Those 3 guys combined for 42 interceptions the last 3 seasons. That's what you want.
And let's not forget, not their most important person on offense, but their most underrated person on offense, Alfred Morris, had 1,600 yards last year. And, even with defenses keying in on him, he's still going to have a successful season. And that, paired alongside what you have with RG3, the Redskins are going to put up points this year, and they're going to be hard to stop. And the thing with Alfred Morris is he got better. Alfred Morris, 1 second. Alfred Morris got better as the season went on. Mm-hmm. And so in the NFC East, in December when it's cold, when guys are run out, when the Eagles are running, 30, 70, 80 plays a year, 80 plays a game, and your defense is just dead tired at the end of the year, you're going to have a guy like Alfred Morris who gets better as the year goes on, running all over you.
Well, who's Robert Griffin going to throw to get that 8 for 9?
Who did he throw to last year?
Well, Pierre Garçon had a decent season.
Okay.
But I don't think. I mean, so that's who you're resting. That's who the horse you're gonna hitch your wagon to.
I'm not hitching my wagon to a Redskin.
Okay, let's take the Eagles pom poms and T-shirt off here for a second. Give me some. Do you really believe that he has a weapon there in the wide receiving court? Now coming in a second.
I think he's talented enough to make that wide receiving core better. I'll phrase it like that.
Okay, so you think it's gonna be a Randall Cunningham, Fred Barnett type situation?
Well, I didn't think Fred Barnett was that bad.
Go ahead, brother. He was not starting at receiver.
The whole thing is his accuracy. I think a lot of people overlook that because of his mobility, because he can create with his feet as well as with his arm. He's got a cannon for an arm, and it's accurate. We saw that in Week 1 against the Saints last year. I think that's the big thing. It's almost like, you could put Tom Brady with nobody at receiver, but because he's accurate, he's successful.
And he's got good coaches.
He's got good coaches as well. I mean, the Shanahan's there in Washington. He's got the good coaching staff. He's got an accurate arm. I think as long, Garçon's not going to be a game breaker per se, but you put enough good receivers together, and you got tight end Davis, tight end Alfred Morris out of the backfield. He gets the ball there accurately. Off to the races they go.
It seems though, off seasons are where offensive niches go to die. The Wildcat, the K-gun, the run and shoot. Like all those offenses died after an off season because defensive coordinators get an opportunity to gauge them. You're shaking your head at me, so I'll come to you. So I'll propose this question to you: are you implying that defensive coordinators are not prepared for RG3 this year?
The same NFL coaches had a full off season to stop the forward pass, the draw play, the blitz, Barry Sanders. It just have to look at talent is talent.
Hold on.
That formation
you
is
put
just,
Barry Sanders in it.
I'm just saying, people say, oh, it's not, give me a full off season to figure it out. It shouldn't take you, if you're an NFL coach, a full off season to figure anything out. It should take you a drive to figure it out.
Okay.
You got to give players credit for being talented.
You said Barry Sanders. For those of you who don't know, I am Barry. I love Barry Sanders is my dude. I'll never root for the Detroit Lions because they made him retire. So they should have traded him to San Francisco. They should have let him go. There was no reason why they did it. But Barry Sanders is a different horse. Like you can't put. You can, but I understand the attempt. I just don't I don't think it's comparable here because you have a situation with RG3 where I think defensive coordinators are now going to say, okay, for all the reasons you guys named, we're going to blitz him. We're going to put him on his back and see if he can take that beating.
You sure you want to blitz a guy that has the speed? That's the one thing about a mobile quarterback. You don't want to play man coverage because as soon as your cornerback turns around, guess who's running right behind you? It's going to look like a 3-by-1. You're going to have the corner, receiver, and quarterback running all in the same direction.
I get that, but if I'm going after RG3, for all the reasons that you guys named, you basically built this atomic quarterback. The only way to beat him would be to beat him up. And the Redskins' offensive line, no matter, you're going to have to send an extra man because their offensive line is that good. So, yes, I think you take that chance, and I don't trust his body to stand up there. And, quite frankly, I don't like him as I think he was a little overblown last year. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk Giants and Cowgirls. Yeah, Giants and Cowgirls. .com Sports. Welcome back to .com Sports. Before we talk Cowgirls and Giants, I'm going to give Emery a second here because we got into it a little bit in the production. Basically, the conversation is this, and I'm going to play it back for you guys. RG3 reminds me of every quarterback that you love to watch, but they never physically hold up, whether it's Randall, Michael Vick, a guy that a lot of people don't remember, but Steve Young before he stopped moving. Frank Tarkenton before he stopped moving. Even Ben Roethlisberger to a degree. It wasn't until they kind of stuck him in that pocket, said don't move. I don't see that because RG3 seems to have that certain je ne sais quoi that's going to tell him to run no matter what or to get out. So go ahead and respond to that.
Well, you can run. There's no problem with that. Steve Young didn't run reckless. Vince Young didn't run reckless. Cam Newton didn't run reckless. Roethlisberger didn't run reckless. But guys like Vic and RG3, they can't run under control, and that's the real key. That's why they get injured. It's not because they're running; it's because they run reckless.
So do you trust him this season? Do you trust him? We're not talking about future.
I trust his arm more than I trust Vic's arm because he's accurate.
Well, we're not comparing him to Michael.
Well, that's why I trust him because he can throw the football.
Give me a wins for Redskins.
For the Redskins, 10-11.
Okay, I'm thinking more 8-9, but it could just be
tough division.
This could just be my Eagles' pride. All right, let's talk Cowgirls. I'm gonna throw to you, Brett. I call them Cowgirls, but in all seriousness, I actually like Tony Romo quarterback. I think he's a little overweight, but that's just my personal opinion. I like Tony Romo as a quarterback. There was a guy out there on radio that said Michael Vick was a better quarterback than Tony Romo. I took umbrage to that. But the question I have for you is this: how many times can he throw for over 4,000 yards, give you 20-plus touchdowns, and the Cowboys not win?
As many times as he doesn't produce or doesn't make smart decisions in the fourth quarter. The Cowboys will always be, it's going to be close games, three quarters. And then all of a sudden the fourth quarter comes and he feels like he's got to make every single play. And he, time and time again, doesn't make the right decisions in the fourth quarter.
But why can't he do it and a guy like Eli can with less talent? Because Eli takes that same approach, like I have to do it. And he somehow what is Tony Romo missing that can get him to the next level?
I think, you know what? This may go all the way back to college. Because think about this. Brett Favre, similar type of small college, comes out, gunslinger. Yes, he sets all kinds of records. He wins one Super Bowl. But he also is the all-time interceptions leader. Why? Because he makes a lot of bad decisions in the process. I think it's the same thing here. Tony Romo, small college. Whoever heard of wherever he came from, Northern Iowa or something like that.
So Southern Illinois?
Southern Illinois?
Eastern Illinois.
Wherever the case may be.
Got me, Emery. Got me again.
It's just, the coaching there going up through the ranks isn't as good. All of a sudden he gets to the NFL, yes, he's got talent. We can't dispute that. The guy puts up yards every single season. But when it gets to
numbers.
Fantasy quarterback, yeah, you want to draft him, of course. But the fact that he just doesn't make the right decisions in the fourth quarter, that and the fact that the Cowboy offensive line isn't that great is a recipe for disaster in Dallas.
So you think the Cowboys struggle this year? Cowgirls struggle. So that's called them Cowboys. Cowgirls struggle this year.
Yeah, I do.
Give me a number. Wins.
6.
So you have the Eagles winning more games than. Wow, you're always going to be welcome to Philly. Go ahead, and I'll come to you in a second.
I think the Cowboys could win about 8-9 games. This is a tough division, but with Romo, I like to liken it to basketball. Nick Anderson, outstanding shooter. You can't take that away from him. Clutch situations, all he had to do was hit his free throws.
Yeah,
you hit your free throws, the Magic win. And it's the difference between it's a psychological thing. Just like why I believe I would take Eli over Peyton any day of the week. Peyton is the same way. Peyton, going back to college, couldn't beat Florida. Why? The clutch situations. The
T. Martin comes in.
Right, and you have to have it here. And it's not saying that Tony Romo is not a good player. You clearly can see Peyton Manning is a great player. But in that situation, you can't trust him because the hands get sweaty, the palms get sweaty. It's the nervousness. That right there separates a guy from Romo, from a Brady, or even from Eli Manning. So I think right now the Cowboys have enough talent because let's be honest, Miles Austin, Dez Bryant, Jason Witten,
the best tight end in football.
So give me that pro set. I could win a lot of games. Even with Romo, you just got to take the ball out of his hands more so than often.
Can coaching correct that? Is there a correctional facility that can correct that?
You can't because it's what's in you. Because in the heat of the battle, you're gonna result back to what you're comfortable with.
Interesting. I'm gonna come to you in a second, Roy, and the same question for you: what is separating Tony Romo and what can Cowgirls do? I look at a guy that has that much success, and I just don't see why he can't just get just kick started in the fourth and get it. Why he can't get it? Because he's the reason why they can't get it done. I mean, you put an above average quarterback back there. The Cowboys are in the playoffs most seasons. They've got the talent. Even with the DeMarco Murray, I think is a decent running back. I think they can get it. I think Romo's was holding them back, but he's also was getting them there. Go ahead.
But how much success has he really had? I mean, he's put up numbers, but success-wise,
Well, that's what I mean. Success as far as putting up numbers.
Okay, well, I mean, he's had moderate, both good success putting up numbers, but again, it just goes back to what is numbers? Matt Stafford puts up numbers. I mean, what is that? Is he successful? No, he puts up numbers. I mean,
but okay, go ahead. Floor is yours.
But the point is, it all goes back to the clutch thing. Like guys, he just doesn't have that clutch gene, and you can't coach it. Bill Callahan isn't going to bring him a clutch gene in a box this year and say, you'll be clutch now. And some guys just wilt under pressure. Like you have guys like Ben Roethlisberger who didn't have the talent that Tony Romo has on offense, but he always finds a way to make a play. Same with Eli Manning, who threw two of the best passes in Super Bowl history, to get the Giants their 2 wins. Some guys have it, some guys don't, and I don't think at 33 years old Tony Romo's going to figure it out.
So there's no way the Cowgirls. So Emery, give me you said 8-9.
Because you made the best point. Because think about it, he gets you there, but he also holds you back. So that right there tells you 8 or 9 wins.
Who's your biggest oppressor?
Yeah, 8 or 9 wins. That's about right.
So I'll give you a second, Brett. 8 or 9 wins?
8 or 9 wins.
Go ahead, Brett.
And if I may, on Romo too, is think about this. Let's go back to Joe Montana, one of the most clutch quarterbacks of all time. He got that clutch gene playing at Notre Dame with the comeback wins he had at Notre Dame. Tom Brady, early in his season when he took over for Drew Bledsoe, a couple comeback wins that got that role started, had that clutch gene going into the Super Bowl.
Even back in Michigan.
Yeah, even back in Michigan. Yeah, exactly. Orange Bowl.
Stop it. Adam Vinatieri.
Well, Tom Brady, though, at Michigan, in the Orange Bowl.
What about the Tug Bowl game?
Adam Vinatieri kicks a 70-yarder in a blizzard, in the blizzard of all blizzards. No one talks about that. No one ever talks about. I'm going to use Rob Parker's line. There is no Tom Brady highlight. I'm saying like a 5-year-old. No Tom Brady highlight without Adam Vinatieri. He may be arguably I don't want to say kicker, one of the best football players in our generation, and he gets no love. No love. He goes to Indianapolis. They win a Super Bowl. Come on, man. Tom Brady. Go ahead, finish your point. I interrupted.
But my whole thing is a lot of these quarterbacks got that clutch gene as we're talking about early in their collegiate careers, and they carried it over to the National Football League. Tony Romo never had that.
Yeah.
He hasn't experienced it for himself where he led the team down the field. Eli, I think it was against Denver a year or two before they won the Super Bowl, had a big drive downfield, won the game late. It was Denver or Washington, one or the other, but a big game-winning drive.
Did it against us?
Philly, yeah.
So, quarterbacks that get it early have it. Tony Romo never got it early, and that's part of the problem there.
He didn't even have, and we're going to jump to Eli. But one more thing on Romo, he doesn't even have that look. Like Eli had that when Eli came out and he said, "I'm not going to San Diego." People were, "Who's this pompous dude?" He said, "I don't care what you got. I'm not going to San Diego. So trade me to somebody." Most guys can't do that. Most guys can't look in the camera and say, "I don't give a damn what you say. I'm not going there." Gets Philly his rookie year. I don't know if he started that game. He gets like decapitated, chopped in half by Jerome McDougal. He gets up like nothing happened, and he's always has when people say, well, he doesn't, he looks mopey. No, he doesn't. He kind of looks. It's a poor analogy, but kind of looks like a psychopath. Like inside of him, you think he's thinking, I'm gonna take a screwdriver and stab this dude in the eye if he doesn't tackle me. But outside, he's like, okay, well, whenever you're ready to have my order. Like and I think that's what Romo's lacking.
And one more thing, just think back 2 years ago when before the season. He said he was a top 5 quarterback, and everybody thought that was the most hysterical thing ever.
And he didn't give a damn.
And he didn't care, and they won the Super Bowl.
It's like he says it.
He has that thing in him that all great quarterbacks have. That innate trust in your own abilities to be great. And I don't think Tony Romo has that, especially in clutch situations.
Well, I'm going to jump off Eli. I'm going to come back. I'll stay with you. Jump off Romo, and I'm going to come to Eli. This is setting up to be another Giants Super Bowl run. They didn't make the playoffs last year. Mm-hmm. Everybody's saying they can't do it again. I don't even know. Hakeem Nicks, I don't know if they got that situation taken care of.
He's back, but
all right. So he's disgruntled. He's disgruntled, man. They re-signed Victor Cruz. Right. We don't know who their running back's going to be. They got an idea, but Jerry Reese always seems to plug somebody in there. Somebody said they had a bad defensive line. They're going to get sacks. They always do. Tom Coughlin always seems to get this team do enough in the regular season. Is this going to be another Super Bowl run for the Giants?
I think this could set up for that. They still have a lot of questions on defense. Umanura's gone. They have.
What really did he give you? What really did he give you?
Yeah, but what's his replacements going to? What are his replacements going to give you? They have questions on defense. And again, in the backfield, like you said, David Wilson is supposedly their number one starter. He's had issues holding on to the football. Can he be an every down back? Can Andre Brown be an every down back? I don't know. Maybe you don't need one in today's NFL. Maybe you can go with the two-headed monster at running back. I think they have too many questions to make a Super Bowl run, but they may be good enough to win this division.
Go ahead, Em.
I like the Giants finishing second, and the one thing they have is continuity with the scheme, coach staff, so they're going to get a lot of good output with that. I do think their defensive line got better. I like what they brought in with DeMontre Moore. He was the number one sack leader in college last year. Fell to the third round. How did that happen? When you have teams like Detroit drafting Ziggy Ansah, number 5, and so they got. That's how the rich get richer. That's how the teams like the Giants, the Steelers, they always are consistently good. And David Wilson has the one thing that no one else on the Giants have: speed. Right. So that's one of the slowest teams in the NFL is the New York Giants. So I think right now when you look at the Giants, they can play good defense, they can play offense. They don't have the speed per se, so they're going to always struggle against teams like, let's say, the Eagles or maybe the Redskins or even the Cowboys at times. So
Eli killed it. Was it Eli like 5-0 against the
They're
Cowboys?
undefeated in Dallas.
Okay.
But speed always kills the Giants. Any team that can spread them out, you're going to attack their weakness, which is their lack of speed. But I do think they have enough to finish second. Okay. And if Hakeem Nicks can stay healthy, that's a huge key. That's why they had to sign Victor Cruz, because they can't depend on Nicks.
I'm going to change the question for you, Brett. Would you be surprised if the Giants make a Super Bowl run this year?
No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. At the same token, I think the reason why the Giants don't make a Super Bowl run is because it's in their own home stadium. Okay. And I think the pressure of that, all talent aside, and I'm a little, for the rookies on the Giants, especially on the line, I want to see it first. Jason Pierre-Paul's still going to be a beast when he gets healthy, but still I want to see that. But for the Giants, they're going to put so much pressure on themselves to make it to the Super Bowl. I think it overbears them. And I think that's where their trouble begins.
You just convinced me they're going to the Super Bowl. I forgot that it was in New York this year. Yeah. We got to make sure we get out there. I forgot that Eli's going to do that. I'm going to look at the camera and say, Eli is going to take the Giants. So they're going to be the first team to play. Because he's just that dude. He's just that. I could give you a whole, I could sit in front of a chalkboard and give you the old Vince Lombardi. We're going to seal here, go up the alley when you break down Eli Manning. But at the end of the day, he throws a ball up. Someone comes down with it. You know what I mean? He gets Plaxico Burress to be a disciplined receiver, something he struggled with at Pittsburgh. I just see it happening. I just see it happening.
He's got it.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about having it.
He's got it.
He's got it. Eli, there's no two ways. I had said it, on MTR Radio a couple of years ago when he made that claim, I should be a top 5 quarterback. And I was like, is this guy nuts? And they went out and proved me wrong and won the Super Bowl. So he's got it. And you can't take it away. He's definitely one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League, numbers aside. All right. He'll get it done.
He was, before he said it, he was in my top 5. So, and if you're going to pull a training day on me and make you give it in a chronological order, Eli and Ben Roethlisberger are 1 and 2. And you can pick, I put them ahead of Brady. Obviously, Manning's in the conversation as well. And, I'm going to get killed for this, and I already know it. But Cam Newton's in there as well, because I'm judging Cam Newton off of potential. And that you can't tell me that Ferrari is not beautiful. You can't tell me Cam Newton.
Oh, no. Yeah, I do like Cam. I really do.
He's got a linebackers coach as his head coach.
And yet we didn't even mention Rodgers and Brees in the whole conversation.
If you draw up a quarterback, give me Aaron Rodgers. Mobile, accurate, strong arm. I want him.
Ben Roethlisberger, I know you did, but had you heard of Mike Wallace before Ben Roethlisberger? No. I'm not going to ask you. Had you heard of Mike Wallace before?
Only out of college a little bit, but didn't know to the level that he could get to. I'll say that. Ben brought him to the next level.
I know you hadn't heard of Victor Cruz.
Yeah, I heard of it. Actually, my old college coach, Victor Cruz.
We're going to take a quick break. You like to walk in George.
Shout out to Brian Chris. Coach Victor Cruz.
We're going to take, it was UMass, right? Mm-hmm. UMass actually, I know somebody UMass recruited that played my position in high school, and I'm glad he didn't go there. He's no longer playing football. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to get Super Bowl predictions for the AFC and NFC from these gentlemen, and we are going to talk Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football. .com Sports. And welcome back to .com Sports. We should actually take the breaks so people can hear the comment. Because Emery just said you put any of the quarterbacks we name on the Cowboys, they go undefeated. Whether it's Cam Newton, Aaron Rodgers, you put any of them on the Cowboys, they go undefeated. All right, quickly because I want to really get into this Johnny Manziel. I'll start with you, Brett. Give me your AFC and NFC Super Bowl participants and winner.
I like the Denver Broncos in the AFC.
Really?
I do. It just.
Have you watched Peyton Manning in the playoffs?
You know what, though? For some reason, I think it's coming. I don't know why, and I watched Peyton Manning in the playoffs, but I just have this gut feeling that they're going to get it done this year and get to the Super Bowl. I can't even base it on anything.
I can't even base it.
It's called denial.
It's a gut feeling I have. NFC, I am really high on the Seattle Seahawks. I'm super high on the Seattle Seahawks, and if they have home field, in the NFC playoffs, nobody's beating them.
I think Brett did his homework because he must know that I'm a Pete Carroll guy. I'm a Pete Carroll apologist. All right, give me.
I like Houston in the AFC.
Really?
Defense, and they added number 2 wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. That's all they ever needed. So I like those guys in the AFC, and I do like Seattle in the NFC.
So you guys agree with Seattle? Interesting, because I don't even think Seattle's gonna make the playoffs.
Well, Brett and I agree. I like Denver in the AFC. I think they just have too many offensive weapons, and Peyton Manning's too good of a quarterback to be denied this year. And in the NFC, I'm gonna go with Green Bay. I like, again, good quarterback play is always going to lead to good things, and Aaron Rodgers makes everybody around him better. And I think Green Bay is going to take.
Quickly off topic, do you see Lacy having a good year with them?
Yeah. I think he'll have a decent year.
What do you think?
I like Jonathan Franklin better. He's more explosive. Give me
like
Franklin any day of the week.
Okay.
I agree with that. Franklin for sure.
Okay. I am going to surprise everybody with my picks. Well, you know my NFC. I just it came to me like Miss Cleo. Was it Miss Cleo?
Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo. We'll go with Giants in the NFC, and I am going to go Pittsburgh in the AFC. The reason why is in sports we have, since my show I can give a soliloquy why. You have a battle for dominance, greatness, generational. And I would say the best quarterbacks of this 10-year window. I know people are going to say Brady, but how long has it been since they won a Super Bowl? 2004?
2004.
Since they got caught. Interesting choice of words. So it's been close to 10 years. I would say in that window, I'm putting Eli, in our 10-year, Eli and Ben Roethlisberger. And I think it's kind of like basketball. You have Kobe and Duncan, the battle for supremacy. I think we're going to have, who's the best quarterback in this generation? I think we're going to have that battle this year. I like Pittsburgh, and I like the Giants to come out. Now, hopefully, we'll wake up and the Eagles will somehow get there.
Dennis Dixon.
You can mock me if you want. I'm still riding. I bet you if you take him off camera, I bet you he'd agree with me about Dennis Dixon. He won't say it on camera because he doesn't want to, but I guarantee he'd agree with me then. Okay.
Which all means that Matt Leinart will be starting sometime during the season.
I think you'll agree with me here. Matt Leinart. I had an opportunity on more than one. Matt Leinart, to me, if in the right situation, he could do some things. I don't know why it hasn't clicked for him, but he's not a bad quarterback and he's not a bad leader. I don't know what the problem is. I know what happened in other places. I'm not going to spend all the time, but I think Matt Leinart in the right situation. I think Matt Leinart could play. I don't know why he hasn't gotten it done. Johnny Manziel. Any of you guys can chime in here. I'll start with you, Roy. What the hell is going on? Like I said, what's going on with this dude?
What's going on with him, or what's going on with
him?
The NCAA? What's going on with?
The NCAA has issues. We all know that. Mm-hmm. But he knew that going in. It's like he
should have known that.
You knew the woman was crazy when you grabbed her.
Right.
You can't turn around and get in and wonder why she's eating paint chips. You knew she was crazy. So it's you can't blame her. What is his problem?
And the thing is, I think Manziel, and probably to some extent his family, just thinks that they're entitled to something more than the average college athlete because Johnny Manziel was good and won the Heisman last year. His father, in the I think it was in the SI article recently, said that he doesn't understand why Texas A&M doesn't protect his son more from these NCAA inquiries. Texas A&M doesn't care about Johnny Manziel other than the fact that he fills out this Phil Stadium and sells jerseys. Like these colleges, I know we like to think of these higher education place of higher education is developing young men and so on and so forth. They care about making money. You know, they care about being successful. They care about having their brand on national and international TV.
So he doesn't know that?
They should know that, but apparently they don't because they're complaining about it. So if you think that you're entitled to this and you go into, you know, whatever it is, thinking that you're entitled to a higher standard than a regular college athlete, then you're obviously misguided on some level.
You know how upset I have to be. I don't ever, you know, I never ever say anything negative about college kids. I'm not objective about them. Having coached college kids, I look at them as their babies. They're still learning, you know, and people should back off of them until they cross that professional ranks. But Johnny Manziel throws all of that logic out the window. The Manning camp, and you hear rumor about how he was possibly he's what, 22?
He's 20.
No.
He's
20. He's not legal. You're right. He's not even legally allowed to drink. But at 20, he can't operate on an hour's sleep? Seriously. Like, I'm serious. He can't get it together at 20? What's going on with your boy?
I'm just glad I grew up and played in an era that didn't have camera phones.
Yeah, Twitter. Yeah.
Nah,
LinkedIn,
I'm not giving you that. But go ahead. I'm not giving you
Instagram,
that.
none of those things, because otherwise there'd be one football team in the country remaining, because everybody else would have got disqualified or kicked out, because college happens. You do things in college that you won't do now as adults. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because of the overexposure of today's generation. Everyone has a camera phone. Everyone has Facebook,
But he
Twitter.
knows that.
He knows that, but he grew up in it. So he just, it's part of his life. He don't think like we think, because we didn't grow up. We were like, you know what? I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to pull a Riley Cooper because I know someone has a camera phone around here. These guys ignore it because they grew up in it. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. His parents, though, are screwed up, though.
I'll give you a second, Brett. I got to call BS on that one. Because I don't get how a dude can know the problem going in and be he's his own oppressor. He's his own abuser. He is his worst nightmare. Close the door. Have a party in your dorm room. Pat everybody down. Make everybody naked when they come in. You can't have these things happen.
But people know what it takes to gain weight. People know what it takes to have a baby. People know what it takes to, get in car accidents, and still, people know what it takes to get into jail. You would think there would only be 3 jails in the country: East, West, and Central. We can't build enough jails.
But they don't have millions of dollars on the line.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter. He literally, like, no, I'm not embellishing here. He has $5 million on the line every time he makes a mistake. He'll be lucky if he was to come out this year. He would have to have a 4,000 yard passing, 1,500 yards running to be considered in the top 10. Every time he makes a mistake, he's going further and further.
You mean
down.
what he did last year?
No, I'm saying this year. If he came out this year and he put up those numbers
again,
he would have to do that again. No, he didn't have 4,500 last year, did he?
Yeah, close to it.
Close to it.
Okay, but he didn't have 4,500. He made me think, like, wait a minute. No, I studied this when I came up. He didn't have 45. He would have to do that in order to be a top 10 quarterback right now, because teams wouldn't take a chance on him. So if he knows that, there's a difference between, help me out here, $15 to $5 million between top 10 to 15 and below, right? And signing bonus. If he knows that, why is he making these mistakes?
Because he already has it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So he doesn't want more money.
No, but he comes from money. Like, he comes from.
He don't have 15 million.
The Manziel said.
They mess with me. Go ahead, bro.
Well, here's the thing: is I think Johnny Manziel he's acting like a 20-year-old. He's not even considering his consequences. He's acting like a 20-year-old. Now, this whole autograph signing thing, that's completely on him. I don't know what in the heck you're thinking, signing all these autographs. You know that's a violation.
It's bigger than that.
Going out, underage drinking happens all over colleges. It happens, unfortunately. And should he be smart enough to sit there and say, wait a second, my face is on every magazine in the country if I do this? He should be smart enough to say, oh, I'm not, back off. He's not. He's a 20-year-old. That's the unfortunate truth about it. Is it going to cost them money? Absolutely. It's going to. And Peter King said, this guy's got a ton of red flags going up because of all this stuff. Okay, you can't be partying when you're at a Manning camp because that's good.
You can. You just go to. Go ahead. I interrupt you. I'm gonna give you 2 seconds. You can though. Like, that's the thing I'm having a problem with. And you guys keep saying he's 20, he's 20, he's 20, he's 20. No, there's something going on up here. There's something that's telling him I can fly, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better. There's something in him that says, you know what? I can punch through glass. Like, I can do these things, and nobody's gonna tell me any different. And he's not processing the accountability on these things. It's bigger than him being 20. Go ahead.
See, I completely agree with you in that fact that he thinks he can fly. Mm-hmm. And I think I hate to say it because he's 20. It's that youthful exuberance, if you want to call it that. It's just, it's an immaturity that's going to carry on. I totally agree with you that there's something going on in his head.
But let me ask you this, and I don't mean, but let me ask you this. Okay, so he believes he can do these things, mm-hmm. but where is the passion for your craft? The Manning camp, I use it as an example. That's Peyton freaking Manning. Mm-hmm. It's Eli Manning. He can go party with 6 women that don't speak English. Why can't he get up though and make it on time? What's missing there? That's the question.
Remember what I said about the parents? That's what's missing. He should have got punched in the face a long time ago.
I think he's on to something. I think he's on to something. But I interrupted you. I'll give you a second word. Go ahead, Brett.
I totally agree.
Okay.
I think that's a parenting issue. If your parents can't sit there and tell you no, mm-hmm. you can't do this. I don't think he was told no.
Period.
Yeah, and his father now said, Johnny Manziel drinks to deal with these issues. If if you're a parent and you know your son is engaging in these activities at 20 years old, you got to put the hammer down. I'm sorry.
Sad.
It's really sad.
I did something funny, but that's sad because the quarterback from USC, whose father was a coach, give me his name. He
Marinovich.
Said the same thing. Mm-hmm. Said the same thing, and we saw what happened to him. Mm-hmm. Said the same thing. That's what it is. No one has told, and I don't think his parents never told him no, and I don't think they ever held him accountable. Accountability is potent.
Absolutely.
Accountability, having to look in that truth teller and say, I did it, I screwed up, hurts, but it's necessary for success. That's the problem with Johnny Manziel. It's 20s out because it's 20-year-olds that do stupid stuff. We see it on what was the show where Girls Gone Wild. We see it all the time. It's bigger than that, and it's dangerous. He's treading on a dangerous line because he really does believe there's nothing I can do. All right, that wraps up this edition of .com Sports. For Roy, Emery, and Brett, I'm host Kwame Fisher-Jones. As always, we appreciate your time here. You be easy.
No rain, no thunder. Everything's like summer. The storm is over. Today is your day. No pain, no problems. Another day's been over. Don't have to worry about a thing. Today is your day.
Out of the bed, get the stretching and yawning. Down on my knees, give thanks for the morning. A new day, yesterday, stresses are gonna. I ain't got to deal with drama no longer. Another 24 to make it right. Call the fam up to see what's shaking tonight. And outside is the bright scene. Little youngers running after the music to get some ice cream. Permanent smile on your face. The